I have this spray foam stuff in a can. It's uh it's for floor mats and upholstery, seats, carpet, but it works great for everything. So I just said, I just said, I'm not even going to try to detail this inside. I'm just going to spray it with this foam, and I sprayed it with the foam. And the foam has a really good smell to it. It's really fresh smelling. And I had my little tool, the one that has a little motor, and I just all over the whole entire inside. And I mean, it unbelievable job. It brought back the leather, the vinyl, everything. It just cleaned it up so amazing, and it was little effort because I didn't have to sit there and scrub on it and scrub on it. And then I went from there, and I just started, and I said, okay, I'm just going to do one of the section at a time. I'm not going to get overwhelmed here. The carpeting was horrible. It was white carpeting or gray. No, it was gray. Really light carpeting. So I went in there and I started cleaning it. Did a lot of scrubbing today. Got the carpeting looking way much better than it was. And the lady came out, she real nice lady, gave me a big cup of ice for my drink, and she came out a little bit later, and I had already done like the whole front section of the vehicle, both sides, and she goes, "Oh my gosh!" She goes, "It's like magic! How much better it looks!" She was blown away. I have to be honest. I was kind of blown away too because that actually that van was a lot better than I thought it was. It had a lot of potential in it, and just working on it and restoring it back to respectable was really a cool thing. And of course, I got to the back, and it was the leather seats were she had boxes that she had set on the seats, and the heat and all the moisture, because things get moisture in them naturally just from sitting. And the box cardboard had formed into the leather. I mean, like literally, it was disgusting. So I took my little stuff and my tool and just got all that off, and I mean, I wish I would have done it before and after. I did it before, but I forgot I forgot to do the after. But the seats, they were leather, and thank God they were leather. If they would have been cloth, it would have been a lost cause. But leather, you can restore leather. So I was able to get the seats back to respectable. They still were. They're never going to be good because you just can't. No matter what, unless you have hours and hours to scrub that seat, which I don't have, you're only going to be able to do so much polishing on it to get it to look good. But it looked okay, and I was able to get through. And then when I got to the back, I caught a break. She had floor mats in the back, and it wasn't that bad. I was able to vacuum it out. Didn't have to do any shampooing back there. So it ended up being really awesome. But the cool thing was that her boyfriend, the guy that hired me to do it, he came at the tail end when I was almost done. He had the money for me and everything, and he was the nicest guy. He was so appreciative. He goes, I know people all over the place. He goes, I'm going to tell everybody about you. He goes, you were so easy to work with, and he said you did a phenomenal job. He goes, I cannot believe this. He goes, I wasn't expecting this van to look this good. He goes, I thought, you clean it. He goes, but it's amazing. He goes, I didn't even know that this van would have this much potential left in it. And I said, yeah. I said, I never know either until I get in there and start cleaning it. I've had newer vehicles that had faded vinyl from the sun that I can't restore back to what this one was. And the cup holders were barely even ever used in it, which is normally where you have most of your problem with people's coffee, like coffee spills. And but at the end, so I washed the outside. The outside had, I thought it was rust. I thought it was all rusted out. I have a huge giant, like a microfiber mitt that I use, and I'm all of a sudden I'm washing off all this dirt, and it was like green, I don't know, something green. What is it? Some kind of a fungus or something that was growing on it or something. So I'm like washing it, power washing it, mildew or something. Yeah, it was all over the van, but it washed off, and underneath it was this beautiful van. It was amazing. It was one of those transformations that when it was done, the windows, they were so caked with that stuff. But when I was done, it was amazing. And stupid me, I didn't get the I could kick myself. I didn't get the after pictures. But I whatever. But it was amazing how that van came out. And so anyway, the guy, like, he asked me how much, and I told him, and then he looks at me kind of funny. He thinks it's too much. He goes, well, I'm not going to give you that much. He gave me like $80 more. $80 tip. Can you believe that? $80. I mean, I left there, and so and the one I did Monday, that was a full complete job too. It was a lady, really nice lady too, and she had a Wagoneer. Now that was a newer vehicle, but that one was trashed because of kids in the back all the way, 3 rows of seats, crumbs everywhere. But crumbs are easy to clean up. I'm just telling you that, just so you'll know. Crumbs are easy. Pet hair takes forever. And from now on, if I have a vehicle with pet hair up front, they're getting an upcharge because it takes way too long and I need to get paid. But anyway, so it's been a good week. I'm really hitting my goals by the grace of God. I believe that I'm at a point now where I'm going to start scheduling 2 jobs a day. Now, it's very hard to do that physically, but if I do one in the early morning and then one in the later part of the day, and if I get a little break in between, I'm getting home by 5 o'clock every night. And right now I've been home since about 5, and it's hard. I mean, it's really hard working. My wrist, both of my wrists are sore from all the scrubbing, and but I'm taking Advil, and I'm gonna try to see about doing some exercising to get my wrist. I do have one of those things that you can use for your what do you call it? I don't even know where it is now. It vibrates, and those are great for your muscles but I had a had a doctor's appointment yesterday. I have a new doctor. He's great. He's a great guy. He really loved my hat and the Lions. He's a big Lions fan. And we were talking about things, and he asked me what I did for a living, and I said, well, I'm an auto detail. I have a mobile car wash business. He looked at me and he goes, well, really? He goes, so would you come to people's houses and do it? I said, yeah. He goes, oh, wow. He goes, well, I need to get your information, because he says, I want you to come to my house and do my car. So he tells the nurse, and then she starts telling everybody in the office, I ended up leaving like 20 flyers. I've got 3 or 4 people already in that office that want their cars done. They want me to come. And you know, these are people that have money. These are people that have money. And money's not an issue. They're in the medical field. But yeah, I mean, this is what I'm saying. Now, I really do need, and this is something that I would like prayer for, is I've had a lot of people promise me referrals, and I haven't got any yet. And I really need those referrals because if I can get 1 or 2 or 3 jobs a week, referral business, that pays for my Google ads. And I'm doing so good with Google. That was the best decision I made because I'm getting every day. I got another job today for Friday. Like now, my whole week is filled from now until Friday. No, I'm not doing Yelp at all right now. I'm What I think I'm going to do is finish the season out with Google, and then next year I'm going to add Yelp and Google, and I'm going to hire somebody because I know I can get 3, 4 jobs a day, easy. And I want to hire somebody, and here's this is a good time to set this up in prayer for this journey because I've been talking about the reason that I believe God is blessing me is not, well, number one, He likes me. So that's a good thing, right? I mean, no. I mean, God is good. But there's a plan. And the plan was and is in November when it gets cold and I'm not doing the car wash business to have enough money. And this is the thing. And I know I got to work hard. This is why I'm working hard. And I'm gonna sacrifice. I'm gonna work hard. I only got about 3.5 months that I can work from here in. I got to work 7 days, but it's worth it because in November I wanna start Hope Connect. When it's cold, when guys are out on the streets, and I want to rent like a little building in Pontiac, where I can maybe have a few guys come in. I can't house people overnight or anything like that, but I could bring people in for coffee and donuts, Bible studies, that type of thing, and I can help them. I can help them find housing or whatever. But what I would like to do is find some guys that have good character. Maybe they've had some bad luck. Maybe they've been on drugs. Maybe they were in prison. I want to give them a second chance, and I want to hire them into my business in the spring. That's my goal. I want 1 or 2 guys that I can invest in. Guys that will be faithful, that are young, that can do all this hard work. I had a guy call me today, wanted me to clean a motorhome. That's like a $500 to $1,000 job. But the problem is, I can't do a motorhome by myself. I'm having a hard time doing cars by myself because of the amount of scrubbing, and it's just a lot of work. It's a lot of physical work. I can do it, but if the car is really bad, I mean, that's the thing. I'm only able to do like 1 a day because it's just too much. But if I had a younger man, somebody that could do all that hard work, and I can do all the technical work, setting everything up, getting it going, of course doing the work too, but I'm doing more of the finer detailing, and let the guy that has the muscles scrub the floor, right? Swab the deck or whatever. So yeah, that's kind of my goal there's it's like a second chance kind of ministry is what I'm looking for. That's the thing. They would have to be faithful to it. If they don't show up, or if they don't, I mean, they'd be working with me, so I mean, I would be able to kind of control the environment. But if they're not, of good ilk or good quality, then of course I wouldn't be able to use them. The guy that I wanted to help me, he's not really been answering me at all anymore, so I'm figuring he just not interested or whatever, and that's too bad because I think he could have worked out and I could have used him even already, and he just hasn't responded. But that's okay. God God knows I need all the money anyway. I really don't have the money to be giving somebody else money right now. But if if everything works out in this the goals that I have, and that's, it's all up to the Lord. Whatever he does in this, then there's some really awesome things that can happen through this car wash business. I talked to a guy on the phone Sunday night. He said he was a pastor for years. I don't know what he's doing now, but he said he needs to get his car cleaned. But the problem is he doesn't have a house. He's in an apartment, and he's about 45 minutes away from me, so it's not really feasible for him to get it done. But there was something in the conversation that was, I think, was what the Lord wanted, and it was interesting that he contacted me right during church, when we were doing church, and I said my motto is I clean their cars, God cleans their souls. And I think opportunities are there for ministry all through it, because so many people I meet, some of them are not physically able to wash their vehicles anymore, but they still want to have their cars looking nice. I'm doing something for them, and I'm not charging them, as much money as, if they took it to a shop. But what's amazing is I kind of lowball the price a little bit, but God makes up for it because almost everybody tips me. So the tips actually put me right where I would have charged them if I charged them the full amount. So it's amazing how that's working out. It's like one of those things. But the other thing is, when I set out to do the business, anytime you step out in faith, it's your risk. It's a risk. That's right. Out of their own accord is right, and they feel good about it. They want to do that because they see how hard I worked and how diligent I was to do it. This guy said, he said something to me that I appreciated it. I said, "Oh, I appreciate you appreciating me." I said, yeah, he said, the way that it was so easy to get a hold of me and everything worked out. And that's the whole point of it, I mean, that's why I get the jobs. That's why I get them, because number one, the Lord's blessing me. That's without a shadow of a doubt. But the thing is, whenever you do something and you step out in faith, it's a risk. It's a risk. I took a huge risk doing this business. It could have failed. Most businesses fail within the first 3 months. That's what they say. Remember that there's a Seinfeld for that too. Remember when Kramer and Newman were going to start a rickshaw business? I started in March, April, May. I'm in my 4th month. I've already beat the odds. When Kramer and Newman were going to start a rickshaw business where they were going to, like pull people around, and Jerry said, "Oh yeah, I like this." He said, "This can't fail," and he was being sarcastic. And then, so they went out, and one of the homeless guys stole their rickshaw. He's running away with it. And then they got it back, and Newman was on it, and Kramer was pulling him up a hill, and he was all tired, and then he got to the end of the hill, and he fell back, and Newman went, ew! He was flying through the streets of New York. That was the end of the rickshaw business. And then Jerry goes, "Well, all rickshaw businesses fail within the first 3 months." All rickshaw businesses. Oh man, that's good. So you do take a risk. But when God is with you, and when you see the plan of God, and that's the thing that I've learned, and this is that scripture, where God told Israel, "You've not walked this way before. This is a new way. You've not gone this way." When they were going through the desert, they never went that way. They didn't go that way. Did you really? Isn't that amazing, huh? That's cool. But they didn't know. And when you're stepping out in faith, and I've learned something, and God spoke to me like all through this journey up to where I'm at now, in each step of the way. I mean, literally, I'd be praying, Lord, I need another job today. I'll give you an example. It was a couple of days ago or yesterday or whatever. All my days are kind of going together now. Let's see, where was that? So this one came in. It was yesterday. I started texting. What time was it? At about 8:25 last night, and I was praying. I hadn't heard back. It was either going to be Thursday or Friday to do it. I hadn't heard back, and I prayed this morning, as I do. And within a few minutes, my phone pings, and this person says, "I can do Friday." Wait a second. I thought they gave me their address. Yeah, they did. Thursday, I'm on 11:30. I'm on. Wait. No. What? Well, what in the world? They said they could do Friday. All right. What was I referring to then? Okay. I'm gonna ask for their address again. Maybe they'll give it to me. Can't really, can't really do the job unless I have the address. Let's see if they. It sounds like this is a go. They just need to give me their address. Okay. So that was that. Is there another one? Okay. So the fact that they got back to me, that was the thing. I thought they'd given me their address, but they didn't. So now I will pray for their address. But anyway, the point is, about as soon as I pray, boom, and like I said, it's a lot of it is just. It seems like God is filling each and every day with a job. I mean, I still have. It looks like. Well, I know I got Thursday. Um, Wait a second. That's what I said. It's very hard to keep all this organized. Okay, here we go. Friday I got one. I got the address. That's what came in today. That's the one. It came in. So that's Friday. I got Thursday. I'm in Warren. There's two in Warren though. There's another one in Warren. I already got. Yeah, I got the. I already have one in Warren on Thursday. I already have that address. Um, so that's a go. I got this one Friday, and now if I get the other one in Warren, You see how hard it is to keep all that organized? That's why I gotta have it all on my phone. Unless the Lord builds a house, they that labor, labor in vain who build it. Unless the Lord guards the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. Amen. But it is all about God and following His plan. I don't know why 15, 20 years ago God gave me that idea. It wasn't the right time. But it never left me. I often thought about it throughout the years. And the same thing with Hope Connect. And now they're just all coming together. It's fascinating. And I see the vision happening before my very eyes. And it's exciting. Because I really want to be involved in helping men. That's really the focus of my whole ministry is God is showing me this vision and how to do it and build it. And in November, when I'm not doing cars anymore and I got time, I'm going to work on that ministry. It's really happening. I can see it. I can visualize it. Everything is coming together, and it's just a beautiful thing. And when you trust the Lord, when you put faith in God, He never lets us down. I've been let's see, what was that? I might have the one. That might just be the one I just. Well, wouldn't it be something if I get two? Actually, she wants me to come. Am I going to be in Livonia and then Warren? Let's see, what am I going to be in? Wow. Okay. I don't know if that's going to work now. Huh. So this one in Livonia, if I can do it at 10, then I could do the other one in Warren. She just said, yeah, okay. All right. See, now I can do my second one. I'm doing this while you're. Alright, cool. Let's get started. Okay, so if I do that at 10, 11, 12, 1, how about 2? If this person in Warren will do 2 p.m., that would be 2 jobs on Friday. Hey, GW, how are you? Livonia to Warren. That's not that far. It's like 35 minutes. That would give me about an hour. maybe in between. Get some lunch, take a little break, and then hit the second car. 2, 3, 4. Be home by 5, 5, 6. Yeah, that'll work. You saw it live. But yeah, so it's working. Everything's working. Just got to put our faith in God. When we were talking about Sunday night, Peter, when he went out onto the water, he had to take that first step of faith. If he would have stayed in the boat afraid, he never would have ever walked on water. He never would have experienced that moment. And that's the way it is with the things of God. Many times it's scary because we don't really know if we take a step of faith, if we step out in boldness and do something, how it's going to work out. We're afraid we're going to fail. We're afraid it's not going to work. All of those things. But God will never fail us when we put our faith in Him. I often go to that movie, and I'm one of these times, like I really loved Rabbit Chat for this. It was so easy to share videos in the media when we were preaching. It was just perfect for that, and I miss that. I haven't found that with. It would probably work in Discord to some degree, but just the way that Rabbit was set up, it just flowed so well. And I was always using media, but now it's with YouTube and with it's hard with the new format that we're using because I'm not really sure that it's the best format for sharing like your screen. We'll have to look into that as maybe we go along. But anyway, that in that Raiders of the Lost Ark movie, where Indiana Jones is getting ready to go into the where the Ark of the Covenant is, and he has to step off of the cliff, and there's nothing there. Nothing. And as soon as he takes that step, the rock goes out. Boom. And then a bridge just forms in front of him, and he walks across. Remember that scene? I don't know if you remember that movie. But that, to me, is a beautiful illustration of stepping out in faith. Sometimes we don't know 1 foot ahead of us, and then we step out in boldness and we do something. I can look back on my life. Yeah, there it is. That's it. See? And he goes, man, that's good. I don't know how you found that, but you need to send that to. What did you mean? Was it Indiana Jones stepping off the cliff or something? That's good to know. Indiana Jones Bridge. Okay, I'll remember that. That's a visual. That's a visual sermon right there. It's kind of hard to see it. In the movie, it's a little more clear, but that's pretty good. But I can look back on my life, and there's been moments like this through my whole life where I've had to step out in faith, and God has never failed me, especially in a ministry. There were so many times I went out on street ministry, and God would tell me to stand up and start preaching. I went to colleges and did that. And whenever we did something that was bold like that, God always met us there and did great things. Look at the disciples. Every time the Lord told them to do something and they did it, they were blessed. God will not fail us. That's not going to happen. It's not possible for God to fail us. It's possible for us to fail Him, very possible, and we do quite often. But it's impossible for God to fail us. That's what makes grace grace. And we're going to talk about that Sunday. I'm starting a new series. God gave me something in my sleep. Quite often, sometimes The devil tries to hit me in my sleep, but quite often God will speak to me, and He gave me a whole thing about grace. What grace is stepping up to accomplish in Christ what we could not accomplish ourselves. That's what grace is. Grace, and we're going to talk about that. Grace helps us achieve the thing God wants to do in our life. It's a but it's not just a pardon from our sin so that we can continue to live in the same failure. That's not what grace is. Grace is to get us over the failure into the blessing. That's what grace is. We're going to talk about that. It's going to be good. But anyway, I got a whole thing written out. I actually wrote it on my. I have a board in my hallway. I write things because I had to write it down. Because you know what? I'll forget it. I will forget it. I got to write it down right away, or it'll be lost, and I'll be trying to remember what was that. Sometimes I'll record it so I don't forget it. It sucks when you start getting older, man. You really do need to take Prevagen when you're about 30. That way, by the time you're 70, you won't have lost your mind. There's too much in our foods or whatever. I don't know what it is, but more people have dementia now than they've ever had. And it's stupid and all that. So we need to, you know. All right, anyway. So, talked to Zane, not directly, but just in texting, and we're supposed to be getting together. I'm going to have him help me with some events. He seems like he really wants to be a part of things here, and I want to make sure that we're using people that have an interest, right? Because if we don't, they'll just go somewhere else. And we have an opportunity with him. He joined my Facebook now. Now I see all of his Facebook stuff. It's like, oh boy, maybe I don't know. I don't know if I really want to be so much on Facebook with people, but I wish he would have joined a Jesusconnect Facebook. That would have been the better option. I don't really like people on my personal family Facebook, but he's all right. He's not bad. But the point is, it's just hard for me right now because I'm still, trying to recover from these jobs. These jobs are physical. It's a some of these cars are so trashed. It takes a lot of elbow grease to get them clean, and that requires a lot of strength, mentally, physically. I always say it wasn't as physical of a job, but a normal car is not physically at all. You just polish and clean. It's not that bad. But you get into a car like I had today that's been sitting for years. It's trashed, stains all over the place. You're going to be 4 or 5 hours on that car, and that's wears you out. It does. I wouldn't have been able to do another vehicle today. Fortunately, I didn't have one, so it worked out. But a normal car that's just normal dirty, like 2 hours, I'm done. If it's just detailing the inside, I'm done. But anyway, my point is, it's hard for me now to fully engage with this Discord right now. And I'm trying, and I just need to get a breather. Now, tomorrow, I don't have a job till 12:30. It's not that far away, and it's just 1. So I might be able to get on here in the morning and try to connect with Zane. And you, Gaymore, you're still full time at the parks, right? Working outside in that hot sun. That's got to be fun. I know how that is now. That's what I'm doing, working in the hot sun. But at least I got a hose I can, And people are always bringing me stuff, snacks and drinks, and uh, the people are generally pretty nice. The people that I've only had a couple of customers that I felt like I really didn't care for them too much. And usually it's a I had a customer on Saturday that I don't want to get into that. That was kind of a I had two cars to do in one day, and they were both smokers. And the one car, it was so bad. There were half smoked cigarettes between the seats. The car was literally an ashtray, and I cleaned it. And the daughter-in-law they were gonna buy it for their daughter, so it would have been the grandpa's car, and she sent me these pictures that tried to say that I didn't clean like the dashboard, which would have been I know I cleaned it. And then there was this little console area that in the middle where you have a little piece of rubber that you pull out, and I pulled it out and I washed it and put it back in. I know I did. And she showed like it had ashes in it. I said, well, I said when you got in it, I said wind blows, things blow. I said that car had ashes under the seat. I can't get underneath the track and all that. I don't take the seats out. I said there's still ashes that you can't get to. I said that's not something that's covered under what I do. And we don't do that kind of deep detailing. We do it surface detailing as much as we can. I said it's possible that things settle. That happens all the time. You might get something that settles. That doesn't mean it wasn't clean. I said if you want to know whether or not it was clean, take a paper towel, put just a little damp water on it, and rub it across the dash. If it's not really dirty and just a few little things of dust come off of it, that's just the subtle dust from the car that comes in from the from the vents. And I mean, when you open the door and things move around, if it's windy outside and it blows in your car, it blows anything that's hidden from view comes out. I said that happens all the time. That's not indication that it wasn't cleaned. So I had to. She said that it ended up all right. It was just some people's expectations are skewed because and this is what I've had this happen twice in a week. So what I do now is if I see a really troubled area of the car, like I know this is not going to come out very well, like for instance vinyl. You know what sun does to vinyl after a car that's 5, 6 years old? It fades it. You cannot clean that. You can't bring that back to life. I'm sorry, it will not. You could spray, like for instance, stuff that you put on your tires to make them shine glossy. You could spray that on it, and it would look good for a minute. But within 5 minutes, it's going to go back to looking all dreary and everything. And there's nothing you can do about that. That's just faded vinyl. That's what happens when you don't clean your car. It just, steering wheel, same thing. It gets completely, permanently damaged from, not cleaning it, not protecting it, not putting anything on it that protects it from oily on your skin and all that. And pretty soon you get those warm marks in it. Now there are some people that, if you have like a shop where you can bring it in and you have a buffer, or you could sit there and buff it, you could get that out. But I don't have that luxury. I'm a mobile car service. I'm coming to your house, right? I got like a certain amount of time to get your car clean. I don't have all day to do it. So yeah. So I think people's expectations are sometimes off. So what I do now is if I got a troubled spot, I take a picture of it And when I'm done and I walk them through it, I show them, look, I couldn't get that stain out. It's it's permanent into the carpet because it was setting too long. It's the same principle if you have something on your fabric, on your shirt. If it gets washed and you don't get the stain out, it's pretty much permanent. It's the same thing with a car. And people sometimes their expectations are they I guess they think they're getting a new car. And I'm sorry, you're not getting a new car. A new car. You know, like the Bob Barker. The price is right. I'm getting a new car. No, you're not. You're gonna have the same car that you ruined. It's just gonna be cleaner. But I would say those people, those are like 2% of my clients. Their expectations are too high. That's right. Yeah, yeah. You might feel like it, but no. So yeah, I think certain people, like for instance, on Sunday I did this. This lady had a headliner that got water on it. I don't know if she bought the car like that. It was like that when she bought it. I think it was like that when she bought it. So who knows how long those water stains were in the headliner. And you got to be careful with headliners. You don't want to start scrubbing on it because it can come off from the glue that holds it, and you don't want to get it too wet either because there's insulation in between the metal and the headliner that keeps noise out of your car. If that gets wet, it will mold and it will cause the headliner to sag, and now you got to get a new headliner. So I told the lady, I said, I'm going to try to get it out. I said, but I have to be very careful. I can't scrub on it like you would something on a seat where you could really get it out. I said you have to use techniques. Yeah. Well, this was a Jeep Liberty, and it was almost like a white color. So I have that little scrubber thing, and it has different scrubber heads on it. And I used a microfiber one that was soft, but I had white distilled vinegar with Dawn Power Surge soap, and that's what they said the white vinegar would. So I used that, and I got some of it out, and it was definitely cleaning it. You could see how it was cleaner. But there was one spot right over the door that just wouldn't come out no matter what I did. So I kept showing them as I was working. And I even was telling them I might not be able to get. I said I could scrub on this till next week and I wouldn't be able to get it out. I told him, I said, though, the one thing that you could do, but the guy, he was kind of like, I could tell he was like thinking, he was talking about the stuff when he worked as a printer, and it was stuff that they used to remove like ink. And I'm like, well, yeah. I said, I don't know what that is, but you got to be careful. You don't want to ruin your headliner. It's better to have a little spot on it than ruin the whole thing, unless you want to spend $400 or $500 to have a new one put on. I said, but here's the deal. I said, what you could do is take an iron, plug it in. Don't put the iron actually on the headliner because it'll just burn right up, and you have a big hole in it. A big burn hole. You'll get rid of the spot, but you'll have a big burn hole. I said, but just get it as close as you can, hold the heat, and then put the steamer on from your iron and let it seep into that in hopes that it will liquefy the water stain enough that now you can wipe it off. And but there's something that you can get, and I'm going to get one. It's just going to come in handy. It's really going to come in handy for me. It's a steamer. It has a nozzle, and you can use it in your house. You can use it in cars. It's great in cars because, like, if you have gum in a cup holder, you just take the steamer and you blow it in there, and it blows steam on it, and it just takes it right up, and you just wipe it out. But the steamer works for like removing stains, and so you heat it up, and it doesn't hurt the headliner and all that good stuff. But anyway, this is just little things you learn. But I'm gonna get one. Because imagine if somebody does have that problem and they're looking for somebody to do it, and you know how to do it. Well, now you're an expert, and you can charge expert money for it. I mean, that could be the whole deal right there. Well, I don't need my whole car washed. I just need these stains out. Okay, well, I can do that. So yeah. Anyway, tag that one. But anyway, we step out for God in boldness, and God will never fail us, and He will bless us because of our faith and our action and so on. And I was talking on my Revolution 24 on Facebook. I have some people on there that I don't even know, because a lot of people joined my when I did that Facebook campaign. That's what I was thinking about doing for our Discord this summer. I might see how it goes. If I have enough jobs and money for going into August, I might take a couple of days off and launch an event. And if I do that, I'm going to plan it with like doing either a Google ads or a Facebook ad. Facebook ad is good for getting people to an event. It's not good for selling things, I don't think. Like, it wouldn't be good for my car wash, but it would be great for Discord, because you're trying to reach people in a certain, and they're on Facebook. And so what I would do is just, I'd have to figure out where I would land them to. Like, do I want to land them to Discord, or do I want to land them to my Jesusconnect page and then just have a button on there where they can click and go to Discord? It might be better to do that, because a lot of people won't go outside of Facebook for anything. Oh, I can't do that. I can't leave Facebook. Blah. But if I'm already on Facebook, I can go to your page, because it's real easy to get on your page, and I can join it. Oh, and there's a button, and I click that, and now I go to the event on Discord. See, that would work. So if I do that, it's not that expensive. And I got 1,000 people in like 3 days to my Jesusconnect page. So I might do something like that, and we could launch some kind of a deal, and then go from there. But we'll see. We need to grow the server, and we need to figure out. But then we also need to maintain the server, right? It's good to have vision and goals and reach out, but so if we could all, and it's just right now, I don't know if Gamor is here, or is he able to reach out to us. But we all need to. Okay, good. And if we can have another meeting, like Zane, I don't know why he's not here tonight. He that's fine that he's not, but we'll have to figure out how we could get him access. And again, I'll message Game Warrior tomorrow in the morning and see if I can ask him how he can change if he can change the permissions, to make him an admin. He would be a great person to help us with some of the bots, fixing them. Um, he would be somebody I think that could be a welcomer. You know, somebody that would be on the site. He's always online, and so he would be the perfect candidate for us right now to help us, and we need that right now. So if I can get him permissions and things of that nature and get him going, I think we're really going to start rolling in that good direction. Now I'm going to try. Um, so with me right now, it's all about organization, and I screwed up some things this week because I'm I'm not used to. I was in sales for years. I know how to organize. I know how to do all that. That's not the problem. The problem is I'm just not used to it. Right now, things are coming at me fast and furious. I'm getting calls and texts every day. I'm driving and I'm getting calls and texts, and I'm trying to talk to people, and I'm trying to get them to get their cars done and set up appointments, and it's hard when you're driving because you can't write anything down. So I'm trying to get people to text me their name, their address. So if I have that, I'm good. I can get to them as long as I have a time, their name, and their address. We're good. I don't need anything else. I can figure it out from there. But the problem is okay, now I got to fit in. I want to spend time on Discord every day. I want to answer people's prayer requests, and not answer them. I want to reply to their prayer requests. I want to try to build on what the momentum we're having, but it's not that I can't do it. I just need to get more organized. That's why we have these meetings, so I can be organized, which I'm trying, believe me. But this book I got, it's a little book that has what I need. This is exactly what I need, because you can see it even has stickers. A lot of good they'll do you if you don't use the date book. But like, for instance, you got the whole month in a view, kind of a thing. Now this is what I like. You got days. You can put all kinds of things in there. So, and it has a date. So today's the 7th. No, today's the 8th. So you would write down, okay, so tomorrow's the 9th. We don't have a scheduled meeting tomorrow night here. I'm going to show you how you do this. I have a 12:30 in White Lake. A Bronco. I think it's just a detail. Okay. So I got some time in the morning. So I'm going to pencil in 10 to 11 Discord. See? Now, tomorrow morning, when I get this book open, I'll forget this tonight. So tomorrow, no, I won't. So, so tomorrow when I get up and I don't remember anything, I can go to that book and it'll say Discord 10 o'clock and I'll remember. But it's just, that's what I'm saying. It's not that we don't have time to do things. It's about time management. I'm one of those guys that preaches time management but doesn't live it. Like, I'll tell everybody else to manage their time, but then I don't do it. It's like I'm a hypocrite when it comes to that stuff. But part of my goal for Hope Connect is, and there's something that I'm not going to talk a lot about right now because I just don't have time. But come the fall, when I start getting into that mode, I'm going to talk a lot about it. But the app that I'm building through Teams is going to be Microsoft. It's going to be really awesome time management is going to be built into it for men that want to control, that have addictions like heroin addictions, to have, manage their day hour by hour, so they're not just floundering out there. That's really important stuff. It's part of the discipline process that we're going to be sharing with men. I think you guys are going to enjoy this ministry. You can help me with it, and I'm including you in it. When I get the app, everything, I'm probably going to have that rolled out in September, because come November when I start this ministry full on, I want to have the app already going and boom, ready to go. But yeah, as far as praying and maybe even offering counseling to men that come onto the app, you could have communications with them and help with that if you want to. If you want to be involved in ministry, that there's a great ministry right there. But all of these things that I'm talking about that we've been doing on here, organizing our lives, I mean, you don't have to put everything out. I ate a Twinkie. I'm eating a Twinkie, or Cheetos or whatever. You don't have to say that. Just, snack time or whatever. No. You build all that into your day. you gotta have some fun in your day, So you're working, you're sleeping, you're eating, you're walking, you're not walking, whatever you do. But it's really just, for me, it's just getting back. I was so out of it, just taking care of my mom, and I didn't really have any focus on my day other than I'm gonna go for a walk with my dog. I'm gonna take care of my mom. And when I had my other dog, it was the same thing. I was busy. I was busy with her life, setting up appointments for her, taking her to I had to manage her whole life. So yeah, I was doing management. But of a human being, that's even of a greater responsibility. But for years, I did different jobs in sales where I was managing sales. I was, managed business. I managed departments. I mean, I've been involved in a lot of different types of management. Managing my own business, just getting back into it, organizing every day, fitting everything in that I need to fit in. But anyway, it's all about that. And then hopefully, if we could just spend some time in the next few days, kind of setting aside ourselves for reaching out to people that are coming into the server. Send a message out, send a welcome, and all of that. But hopefully we can do that and see the server continue to grow. I think if we just give it a little bit of attention every day, God will bless it. The seeds, we've been asking him, and he's drawing people. We had a new guy here Sunday night, and Danny, and that was a blessing. He just came out of nowhere, and those, great. How's he doing? Awesome. Well, I appreciate you, brother. You're you're getting ministry opportunities now, and that's what it's all about. I mean, and each one of us, whatever we can do. We've been seasoned. We've been marinating for a long time. We haven't really had a whole lot of opportunities. Now all of a sudden we've been praying and God's opening up those opportunities. Let's just be faithful to the Lord and do what we can. Now, I'm saying that to myself first and foremost. But my problem isn't desire, passion, or want to. It's just organization for me now. It's just organization. And my business is, because it's booming and growing, that's a good thing. And luckily, I double booked this guy. I had to move him to Wednesday, tomorrow, and he was very good about it and everything. And I felt bad, because I double booked and I did that car today that I was supposed to. Anyway, it all worked out. God worked it all. I didn't lose any business, but I just decided I'm going to have to just stay really focused and go through my leads every day and my text messages. And the problem is, if I don't have a text record and it's just a phone conversation, and if I don't write down dates and times, I do have the phone number, but then I got to call somebody back and say, you know what? For some reason, I misplaced the time. now I'm being, having to go back. And usually people are really good about it, and they're not like upset about it, and they'll just tell you the time, and now you have it. But anyway, most people text with me, so. Absolutely. Well, my other thought was to have a book like this, another book. I can see a sitcom, Steve Martin or something, and I got another book, and then, a couple minutes later, he brings out another, and then I have this book. They keep getting smaller and smaller and more condensed. Oh man, that's so funny. That is really good. But no, I mean, for like when I'm in the car, and I'm talking to somebody on the phone, I just need something that, I'm driving, right now. You don't want to do that. You talk about distracted driving. Hey, I'm running my business in my car, but maybe something that you could just write down real quick. 10 a.m. Warren or something. I don't know. Just something to remind you, or get off at the next exit and just stop for 5 minutes, write down that information, and then pick back up. And that way you don't lose it. But most people text me, and if they do call me and the conversation is fresh in my mind, I'm not going to forget it in a day. I'm going to remember it's 10 o'clock, it's Warren. But what I do now is I ask them to text me. When they call me, I ask them to text me their name, address, and the time. And most people, no problem with that. And so they're texting me back in like 5 minutes, and that way I don't have to write anything down. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what's helping me stay organized, so I can go back and get the. Anyway, enough of that. But when you think about it, you can apply this to any part of your life. Now, one thing we don't want to do is flounder through our day and not have a set time to be with the Lord. I mean, God's not going to bless us in the way that we want if we're not drawing near to Him, right? I mean, it's just not going to happen. So I have another book. Oh, this is too funny. This is a Steve Martin. I have another book. This book, you can get one of these at the store. They still sell them for dinosaurs like me. And you can write your date. I write down thoughts. I write down Bible verses. I do little sketches. I chisel out. See, I do little drawings. Anything that you can. Scripture verses. Whatever. I take my Bible. But you got to make time. That's why time management is so important. You got to manage that into your day. If you don't manage your prayer life, and I hate to say that because it's not a business, but it is a part of our life. If we don't make time for God, forget it. You got to make time. It's more important than my car wash business. This is more important than anything else. My ministry. if I don't get into the Word of God and have time where I'm praying, I'm reading Scripture, I'm meditating on the Lord, I'm praising Him. This is why God can direct our thoughts. This is why He can lead our steps. Well, we all could, brother, and I appreciate you saying that because we all could use improvement, including myself, because I got to tell you, sometimes I'm so busy. I'm always praying, but sometimes I don't set aside this time. You know, I'm praying in my car. I'm praying when I'm walking. I'm thinking, you know, sometimes, but getting in the Word and just seeking God for His blessings and to be with Him. You know, the intimacy of fellowship, the joy of fellowshipping with God. I got a book here somewhere. Again, another book. This one is Enjoying Intimacy with God. Oh, I got to read this again. By Oswald Sanders. Highly recommend it. Enjoying Intimacy with God. This is about having intimacy, prayer, time with God. We should enjoy the Lord. He should be the joy of our hearts. Really, that time with God, that's the greatest time. I mean, isn't it awesome when God shows up in our heart and life and we're praying? It's like a good cup of coffee in the morning, except 1,000 trillion times better. Or being on an ocean and you're looking out and it's beautiful, you know, or sunset, and you think, wow, that's beautiful, but then you get into prayer and that pales in comparison to when you're in the presence of God. So, read a good book, pray, incorporate time management into your life. I say that as somebody that doesn't do it, but no, I do it. I just need to do a better job of it. But I think tonight it helped me. Just talking about it, I think it's going to improve my getting that done. I think buying this book was tremendous help for me. I don't do well on the digital stuff. Like if you do better on the phone, then use your phone to time manage your life. I don't care how you do it. I just like, I'm old. I'm a dinosaur. I'm old school. I like books. Little planners. That's got to be a sitcom somewhere. There's a sitcom somewhere there. And it's true. I remember years ago, and for some reason I remembered this, but I don't remember exactly what the setting was. But me and a guy were talking, and he had one of those. It was in 1980, what would have been about 87 or 88, and he had like a little thing, like it was a little tiny like daytime planner thing, electronic thing. It wasn't anything like a cell phone or anything, but it was an electronic thing. That's when they first started coming out, and they were, you know, they were very popular things. You know, you could put notes in there and dates and stuff. It was just, that's all it was. And we were just talking. I said, you know, someday wouldn't it be cool if like you could have something where you could just like have a whole encyclopedia and you could just type something in and it would, you know, and this would be before cell phones. And it was, what we were describing was a cell phone. We had the idea like 1987, but I mean, this is before, there wasn't cell phones then. They were just coming out maybe in the 90s, towards the, now this would have been 1985, 86. It was a little bit earlier on. So yeah, so you think about that, they didn't really come out until the 90s. So the technology was probably there. I know they had like, some guy had the first cell phone. It was like it was like it was like this up to his ear. It was a giant thing, and it was like he was in his car, and he was like, yeah, like that, and he was talking. It was a real. It wasn't like the old, you know, cars in the '60s and '70s had phones in them, but they were landline. They were just landline phones. But the first cellular call on a phone was in like 1977, 8 or whatever, and then there's commercials. Radio Shack was selling phones. They were like these giant phones, you know, with an antenna. They were like $500. Radio Shack. Remember Radio Shack? Oh, that was the greatest. Oh my goodness. You could build anything. People would go there and buy their computer parts and build them. What a world. Think about how the world has changed. And now we're spoiled. Well, anyway, I guess we're heading to the end times quicker than we ever thought. So, well, I'll see you guys Thursday night. Looks like Thursday might be shaping up to be quite a day. Or was it Friday? Friday might be shaping up to be quite a day. Thursday should be somewhat easy. I should be able to get on here Thursday night. So I'll see you guys then. I don't know what happened to Game Warrior. He popped in, but did he ever say anything? I don't think he did. He must be offline. Oh, he did? Okay. He's just not here now. Alright. Well, I texted Lucia a couple times, but I haven't heard back from her. Is she doing alright? It's hard when you haven't heard from her. It's hard when you're working crazy hours and all that stuff. Okay. Well, what's this? Task manager? What's that mean? Oh, that's my computer task manager. That's what I need. A task manager. I need an AI robot to get me in shape. I need a robot to yell at me when I don't do what I'm supposed to do. Well, that could backfire on me though, so maybe I don't need that. Maybe a trunk monkey. The trunk monkey. That was the best. It's like the old Inspector Clouseau, the Pink Panther. He always had a guy that for some reason was a Japanese guy that stayed at his house, and he would come home from Inspector Clouseau would come home and at some point in the night that Japanese guy would come and attack him. There he is. Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right, the trunk monkey. But so the Inspector Clouseau would attack him back, and they would end up fighting, and then they would just be friends. It was the funniest thing. But it reminded me of a trunk monkey. If you had a monkey and you came home and the monkey attacked you or something. Kind of like my dog, though. My dog does that. Anyway, I'll talk to you Thursday night.